Let's start today's workout with the first of our physical screens, the one-legged eyes closed balance test. Let's make sure that all of our weight is centered on one leg. Raise the opposite leg so that your knee is about hip height. Once you're in balance, close your eyes and try to hold your position for up to 20 seconds. If you start to wobble or if you start to airplane, the test is over. Our next physical screen is the torso rotation test. For this one, you're going to want to assume a 5-iron stance, put your arms across your chest, and slowly start to rotate your torso back and forth without moving the lower body at all. If you can't disassociate your hips from the upper body, you'll start to notice that the lower body will counterbalance or move independently of the upper body. We want to hold the lower body perfectly still and just rotate the upper body. Our next physical screen is the pelvic rotation test. Similar to the torso rotation test, this time we're going to hold the upper body perfectly still and simply try to move or rotate your hips without moving your upper body. If you can't disassociate, you'll notice that the head and or your upper body will move along with the hips. Once again, freeze the upper body and just move your hips back and forth. Now let's start our warm-ups. Our first one's going to be crab walks. Take a resistance band and put it around your ankles. Assume a 5-iron stance with your arms folded across your chest. Slowly step out and then step in to your original starting position. Make sure you go back and forth. This one's going to fire up the outside of your glutes. Let's do 2 sets of 10 steps in each direction. Our next warm-up exercise is single leg skaters. Again, with the resistance band around your ankles. Position all of your weight on your forward foot, then take your back foot and slightly step out behind you. Raise your foot a couple inches off the ground while maintaining your balance. Let's do 2 sets of 10 on each leg. Once again, the key here is to maintain balance and stability on that forward leg. Try not to let your hips or your knee on that lead leg move too much. Our next warm-up exercise is single leg high knee hold with a resistance band on the top and bottom of your foot. Now we're going to balance on one leg while we raise the other leg to a point where the knee is about hip height. Try to balance for 20 seconds at a time. Let's do both legs twice for 20 seconds each. Our last warm-up exercise is the pull, step, and swing. With the resistance band, start by pulling the band apart by retracting your shoulder blades. Step out to one side and then rotate as if you're swinging a club in the same direction. Once again, pull the band apart, step out to the side, and then slowly rotate, trying to get a little bit more range of motion each and every time. This exercise is also great for sequencing the swing due to the fact that you're stepping out with the lower body first and then initiating movement with the upper body. Alright, now let's get into the workout. First exercise is the lunge stance, pull and reach. We're either going to get into a staggered stance or a lunge stance. Start with both arms out in front of you. Pull one arm back to your side. Once it's next to your body, reach back as far as you possibly can. We're going to mimic the pushing and pulling of our arms to help us rotate the shoulders just like we would in a regular golf swing. Do 2 sets of 10 in each direction. Now here's a very similar workout, the lunge stance turn. Now that we got a golf club or a stick in our hands, we're going to assume that lunge stance. Now slowly rotate back and forth in each direction, trying to maintain balance and stability in the lower body. Do 2 sets of 10 rotations on each leg in each direction. Our next exercise is Valslide reach throughs. We're going to take a Valslide or anything that slips on a surface. Assume a stance on all fours, hands and knees. Then take the hand that has the Valslide and reach through your supporting arm. Let's do 2 sets of 10 reach throughs on each side. Next, we're going to attach a resistance band to a supported object, and we're going to do lunge stance, pushes, and pulls. Get down into a lunge or a staggered stance and do the same pushing and pulling motion that we were doing earlier, keeping your elbows in tight to your body, rotating your shoulders back and forth. Do 2 sets of 10 pushes on each side. Now we're going to do the same exercises, except we're going to use a pulling motion. So once again, with your resistance band, assume a lunge stance. Now we're going to pull the band in tight to our body, keeping your elbows close. Really focus on balance and stability in the lower body and rotating your shoulders. One of my favorite exercises for producing speed and power, the speed stick half Happy Gilmores. Assume a stance with your feet together. Point the speed stick or golf club toward the target. As you swing the club back near the top of the swing, transition by stepping toward the target and swinging as hard as you can. Do 2 sets of 10. Here's the exact same exercise, actually hitting a golf ball, much like you could do on the range. Once again, I'm going to start with my feet together, point the club at the target. As I approach the top of my swing, I'm going to transition by stepping toward the target and swinging as hard as I can, trying to produce maximum club head speed. Do 2 sets of 10 swings. Here's the same exercise from a down the line view, and you'll really see how if my hips move with my shoulders, that's going to cause an over-the-top movement. I really need to start with my lower body in order to flatten out that swing plane and approach from the inside of the target line. So the swinging half Happy Gilmore down the line view, notice that as the club approaches the top of the swing, my lower body starts toward the target before my upper body begins to unwind. And then our last swinging exercise for the day, split stance swings. Drop your back foot behind your target line. Take some normal swings, working on dropping the club to the inside of the target line. Once again, if my hips and shoulders work together, I'm going to come out over the top. This is a great exercise to correct any sort of casting or over the top movement. Simply drop your right foot back, take a normal backswing, start with your lower body first, and allow that club to drop to the inside of your target line.